Get ready for The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's dedicated update show. Events, businesses, and people. Anything and anyone causing a ripple in the community. And now, let's dive in to The Splash Live.
Good morning and welcome to The Splash Live. I'm your host, Tyler Kieft, alongside Dave Scott. It is your daily news and talk show all about Greater West Bloomfield. Here are all the places you can find us. Of course, cable television on Comcast, Channel 15, and AT&T, Channel 99. But you can also find us on the web. CivicCenterTV.com is the place to go. You can also find us on social media as well. Facebook.com/CivicCenterTV15, as well as on YouTube at Civic Center TV. Then, of course, you can find us on the radio as you're driving around town this morning, 89.3 Lakes FM as well. Plenty of news from throughout the community to get to this morning. Let's take a quick look at our headlines with Dave Scott. Dave.
Tyler Kieft, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. So the construction has begun on Orchard Lake Road and the general area in and around Keego Harbor. Keego Harbor instantly puts traffic restrictions in place. They do not want you driving through the communities. Look for signs to go up today, tomorrow, and the next couple of days, but already those traffic restrictions are in place. Troy police are looking for this man, and he was spotted outside of the Target in Troy, and there was a significant crime that took place. If you know who this person is, contact the Troy police. More details coming up. Marshbank Music starts on Wednesday in the Greater West Bloomfield area. Great concert series. We'll talk more about that on the program today. The warm Monday that we had is bringing all kinds of Monarch butterflies to the area and bringing a lot of kids to Lily Pad Springs. I need my glasses, obviously, Tyler. So it's going to be a great week, and we're going to check in on what's going on at Lily Pad Springs, and we're also going to check in and find out more about the Monarch butterfly habitat on today's show as we talk to an expert in that area. Sylvan Lake Summer Fun Games began this week on Wednesday at the Community Center. More on that fun and over in Keego Harbor. The block party that they do once a month is also right around the corner. We've got details. Also on the program today, we head out to Ann Arbor and take a look at the huge improvements to the big house. Tyler's got to bite his lip on that one because he only cares about that stadium a little farther outstate, but we will take a look. Big improvements, and that big M, Tyler, is getting a little bit bigger on both sides of the stadium. I know that will warm your heart. So those are just some of the stories that we've got for you this morning on The Splash Live.
And speaking of warming your heart, a warm day today again in the state of Michigan and right here in Oakland County. Your high today, 85, and the low at 61. Currently 70 degrees already early on in the morning today as we begin this show. But chance of rain in the afternoon and the evening as a cold front moves in. That could also bring with it some isolated severe thunderstorms, some rain, and a chance of hail. So plan ahead. Be a little bit extra careful as you're coming home later on today or as you're traveling about tonight. You could have some slick roads out there or some potentially severe conditions. That is all per the Detroit office of the National Weather Service. In addition, this week, Wednesday, going to be a little bit cooler, actually quite cooler. 72 is your high on Wednesday, 65 is the low. The rain still going to be in place then. But then back to normal on Thursday for this week with our highs in the 80s, 81 degrees, low 64 on Thursday evening. We got plenty more to go over in the community, well beyond the weather coming up. We'll take a short break and come back with more. You're watching and listening to The Splash Live.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. Watch Civic Center TV with our brand new live captions. To turn on live captions, go to CivicCenterTV.com and click Watch Live. In your web browser, click on the Options tab in the top right and find the Accessibilities tab. Then just switch on live captions to heighten your enjoyment of our local programming. Thank you so much for watching Civic Center TV.
I'm Steve Eiserman of the Detroit Red Wings, and I think every child in Michigan deserves a safe, healthy, and happy childhood. Can we build a state where Children Trust Michigan isn't just a name, but something our kids believe? Please support Children Trust Michigan as the voice for children and families by visiting the website to learn more. I'm Steve Eiserman of the Detroit Red Wings, and I think every child in Michigan deserves a safe, healthy, and happy childhood. Can we build a state where Children Trust Michigan isn't just a name, but something our kids believe? Please support Children Trust Michigan as the voice for children and families by visiting the website to learn more.
And now, back to the Splash, live.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Splash Live. Dave, Scott, Tyler Kieft here. We are teaming up to make this show better than ever. We got our whole crew working in the background as well. Thank you very much for joining us. Dave, Scott, Tyler Kieft right here on the Splash Live. So the biggest news in our area right now for people in West Bloomfield, Keego, Sylvan Lake, Orchard Lake has got to be the traffic snarls that have resulted as the closing of roads and the resurfacing of Orchard Lake Road. And the Keego Harbor Police have responded very quickly by passing a rule yesterday that said there will be no cutting through any of the neighborhoods because people are already starting to do that. They're working on getting signs up, and they actually have passed a rule, the police department, to prohibit all that. From Keego Harbor, there's no cut-through traffic allowed on Keego Harbor side streets to get from Orchard Lake Road to Cass Lake Road or from Cass Lake Road to Orchard Lake Road. Local traffic only signs are going up. Same goes for trying to get from Orchard Lake Road, cutting back through Orchard Lake Road at a different point. It's a major safety issue for people in the communities. And Tyler, you can understand, you get snarled in traffic, especially the first couple of days. Maybe you weren't expecting the construction. Your GPS says, hey, I can kind of go around here. But it's really, especially in Keego Harbor in Sylvan Lake, those roads are not very wide. And if there's ever a neighborhood that was built for 25 miles an hour or less, it's those roads. And just on many of those roads, even getting two cars back and forth at the same time is almost impossible. So they're very concerned about it in Keego. I'm sure they're going to be doing the same thing over in Sylvan Lake. And I just ask everyone watching today, as you're navigating the construction, don't cut through the communities. Not a good thing, and you will get ticketed.
Yeah, and it's going to be a focal point for these police departments as, like you said, Dave, the community has been adamant. We don't want this traffic from this major thoroughfare now also congesting our community roads. These are two communities, particularly Sylvan Lake and Keego Harbor, that pride themselves on being walkable communities, of being neighborly communities. And look, you understand why people out on the roads are using these cut-throughs to get around the major traffic on the major thoroughfare like Orchard Lake Road, but at the same time, they're not familiar with these community roads. They're not familiar with the times of day that people are typically out and about with their kids alone, recreating, nor the speed limits, typically 25 on neighborhood roads, but perhaps they're in a rush, and that can cause a lot of problems for a lot of people, and some in some cases can be fatal. So that's why this is a focal point being made by the Keego Harbor Police Department and in an order enacted by Police Chief John Fitzgerald and City Manager Tammy Neeb yesterday.
All right, nice pictures there from Karen Niebrod, the Keego Harbor Planning Commissioner, and we thank her for those pictures. Now, I believe if everything goes right and all of our preparations get done today, we'll be out there tomorrow. Either one of us will be out there live, or we'll at least have a camera crew out there live so we can see what's going on. But last night, in a meeting in West Bloomfield with a number of people who live in Keego and Sylvan Lake, they said the backups were significant during the afternoon rush hour. Backups on Middle Belt Road, Commerce Road, of course, closed. It was very slow moving through the entire area. It's going to take people a couple of days to find their routes and adjust. So especially on the front side of this, expect there to be some challenges. Meanwhile, what I would encourage people to do, and what I'm going to do tonight, is I'm going to go hit some of those businesses in that area and try and support them, because it's going to have an economic impact on the businesses along Orchard Lake Road. Am I going to do that at 5 o'clock? No. But, I think when we get past rush hour, it'll be interesting to see, how severe these traffic backups. Clearly, going through this area, Orchard Lake is open. It's commerce that's closed. Some of the other roads closed, but going through with the barrels and the single lanes where there were 4 lanes and manipulating around all the work, it's going to be slow. It's just going to be slow. We can talk about it all day, but the bottom line is, I don't think it'd be really bad, as bad at least, Tyler, at 8 o'clock at night. And I really feel for those businesses, in that area. Because it's just not as much fun, let's be honest. You're driving down the road, you got to get around a barrel, you got to get in a parking lot, you got to, go through some, dirt thing to get over the place where there's no pavement. It's kind of a pain. So, and really, you can't really go running around on the back roads either now, obviously. So the neighborhood roads. So it's going to be a little bit of extra effort. But we encourage people to support the businesses, just maybe not between 5 and 7 o'clock when rush hour is at its peak.
Yeah, and this has been another focal point, particularly in the signage in these communities. Both the Road Commission for Oakland County, who is executing this project, as well as the City of Keego Harbor and City of Sylvan Lake, who are of course manage their own roads, being that they are cities, putting on that signage for these detours. Local businesses are open to make sure that people understand, despite the traffic on Orchard Lake Road, these local businesses, they're owned by your friends, your family, your neighbors in your community. They are still open. You can still go there. Like Dave said, maybe maybe change your time of day that you typically go to the local watering hole or go to the local coffee shop in the morning to get around the traffic. But don't forget about our friends up on Orchard Lake Road in Keego Harbor and Sylvan Lake.
No, and this one, Tyler, this one is a little different. You and I were driving the other day together and trying to get from Orchard Lake Road and 14 Mile out to Walled Lake. And every mile road we went down, it seemed like, I can't go down here, there's construction. And it was bad, but this is a totally different ballgame, and this is why we're making a big deal out of it. First of all, it's a huge project. It's not going to be a quick, 5-10 day project. This is a month-long plus project. In addition, you've got Cass Lake, you've got Sylvan Lake, you've got Walnut Lake, you've got all the lakes there, and it's very difficult to maneuver around that area. In addition, that is a major traffic thoroughfare for people that are trying to get from the Northern Lakes area to Detroit. You coming through Orchard Lake Road to get down to Telegraph, that's a major on point. Taking Orchard Lake Road toward Northwestern Highway in the morning and doing that on the way back. And then the additional interest in being in the lakes area, after work this time of year. It's like kind of the perfect storm from a construction standpoint. So this is not your typical situation. It's going to require patience. We're going to cover it as much as we can. Tomorrow, one way or another, one of us or our crew will be out there, and we'll see what it looks like live and in person tomorrow morning on the show, and do that during the morning rush hour. So good luck to everybody. Take your time and be careful out on the roads. Meanwhile, over in Troy, a different matter for the police department in Troy. Troy police are looking for a man who was last seen at the Target in Troy. That's a Target at Coolidge and 15 Mile Road. You can kind of see him there with a backpack and the red shorts and the shirt. He was at the Target department store where they reported an assault. Upon arrival, officers found a single victim with injuries to her face and a witness who helped try to stop the assault. Troy Police Department are actively investigating the case and asking anyone who has information or recognizes the guy that you see on screen right now to call the Troy Police Department, the number 248-5 248-524-0777, 248-524-0777. And Tyler, you know, this is one of these things where the police departments really want your help. And you can call any police department. You know, you can pick up the phone. If you see that guy and you have information on him, I think it would be okay to call 911 too. So just reach out to police and see if you can be of help. Meanwhile, Tyler, a lot of fun going on back in West Bloomfield. Tomorrow, it's concert night. Tell us about it.
Yeah, the Marshbank Music Series, one of the favorite events here in the greater West Bloomfield community, held by West Bloomfield Parks, returns at Marshbank Park tomorrow night, 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. We're going to have a concert. There's going to be music. There's going to be other activities, and of course the beautiful Marshbank Park. It's going to all kick off with Collision 6 favorites from the 60s all the way through today. So some hits for people of all different musical tastes and all different musical eras. You can join West Bloomfield Parks on the concert hill at Marshbank Park for the entire concert with entertainment, with the food trucks on site as well. Vegged Out and the Great Greek Food Truck are the food trucks. They will be there at every single event, and in addition to additional food trucks. So Dave, plenty of different options for people of all different tastes, both entertainment.
Well, all I can say, Tyler, is I hope there's somebody there other than Vegged Out, because that sounds like a really cool food truck. But, you know, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, green beans, I don't know, whatever else they would have at Vegged Out. Now, you got a good Caesar salad there at Vegged Out. I'm all about that. But, hey, this is a great event. This is like going to Meadowbrook or like going to Pine Knob. We got the hill. There's a little amphitheater there. You bring your lawn chairs. You bring your kids out there. It starts very early after work, so don't even think about driving through the Keego construction and trying to get out to Marshbank. But if you get off work a little bit early, meet your spouse and your kids. Everyone is having a great time. There's beverages there. There's really good music. The series is going to continue, and I'm really excited about the culmination of the series, because there's a group called Kathmandu, right? And we can only assume that that's going to be some Bob Seger music. And, you know, deep down inside, I'm kind of wondering, like every other West Bloomfield resident, you know, Marshbank Park is about, I don't know, probably about 3 miles from Bob Seger's house. Wouldn't it be cool if Bob Seger came over to Marshbank Park and jammed with Kathmandu? Bob Seger, if you're watching today, and I know he watches the show every day, if you're watching today in your wonderful house in Orchard Lake, Michigan, you know, we don't come over and knock on your door and bother you. We all know where you live. We don't come bother you. But, you know, wouldn't it be cool? Just, you know, get up, come on over to Marshbank Park and jam with Kathmandu. That would make, there probably would be like 1 million social media posts if he did that. Wouldn't that be the coolest thing ever?
It'd be the biggest thing in town, Dave. And it reminds me, recently I had come across a video online of John Bon Jovi was at a wedding, and the wedding singer was singing Living on a Prayer. And he came up and sang part of the song with her. That's kind of what I thought of when you mentioned, you know, maybe Bob Seger comes out to this concert. And that's August 2nd, by the way. So mark your calendars if you want to be there to see this potential hypothetical come to fruition or not.
By the way, I have really no expectation that it's really going to happen. And given Bob's proclivity for privacy, I would be shocked if that would happen. And who knows if he was even around this time of year in the summer. He's got other places to hang out. But that would be the coolest thing ever. And now that we've predicted it here, if by some slight chance, it's kind of like taking in a Las Vegas bet the Lions to win the Super Bowl 3 years ago. Right? But if that were to happen, I mean, wouldn't that be amazing? So, Bob, the challenge is out, and come to the Kathmandu concert. Don't tell anybody. Just show up, and you know, give us, you know, just the beginning of the song, and just go back and enjoy your day. All right. So, but definitely get out to the Marshbank concerts. They are absolutely incredible. And tomorrow, the food, the fun. Get there early. It doesn't start. You want to get out there at like 5 o'clock. So it's a good thing to do. And, you know, with the traffic in that area, even on a normal day, it takes a little bit of time to get there. So allow yourself just a little extra time. So thank you very much for watching our new version of our morning programming block. It starts at 8:30 in the morning. You can watch this programming all the way till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We've reformatted our shows. You can see it's The Splash. We've taken the Splash Live brand, which we got a lot of feedback everybody really loves. The Splash, the Lakes area, Lakes FM, and built this new program with Tyler, myself, and in the coming days we'll be introducing other cast members here on the program and having a good opportunity to cover all the news in West Bloomfield and our areas, Orchard Lake, Keego, Sylvan, and beyond. And we hope you like the format. Interviews, news, weather, guests, just a lot of fun each and every morning right here, Monday through Friday on Civic Center TV and all of our other outlets. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a moment. When we return, more here on the Splash Live. We've got Monarch butterflies. We have a bunch of other events going on, block parties and all kinds of stuff. And we're going to tell you what you can do to keep yourself up to date in case of an emergency here in Oakland County. That and more coming up right here on the Splash Live.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live.
Looking for a midweek meal? Keep the bag lunch at home this summer and enjoy street food in your neighborhood with Food Truck Tuesdays. Enjoy cuisine from around Michigan outside the WB Parks and Recreation's Activity Center with a different vendor every Tuesday, like Vegged Out on July 11th. All summer, every Tuesday, Food Truck Tuesday. This community update from Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Like what you see? Beautiful works of art, masterworks of metal, and accomplishments of artistry will be on display near you. All kinds of artists from all walks of life come together to celebrate their skill and appreciate their work's beauty. Hot Works presents the 2023 Orchard Lake Fine Art Show. Stop by July 29th and 30th between 2 and 10 p.m. between Powers and Daly off of Orchard Lake Road. And now, back to the Splash Live.
Welcome back to the Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show all morning long. You can watch us all the way through 1 p.m. during your work week and listen to us on the radio as well on 89.3 Lakes FM. All the fun and games happening all across the community, and that is certainly going to be the case in Sylvan Lake on Wednesday night. This is a community that loves to get itself together at the community center at various other points in the community to have some fun, to get to know each other, and to bring in some neighbors and other friends and family from around the local area. Sylvan Lake Summer Fun and Games happening on Wednesday night at the community center. It begins at 6 p.m. and runs all the way through 8 p.m. Plenty of fun to get involved in. They have a euchre tournament that they run all throughout the year. Several times a year they'll do a euchre tournament. That begins at 6:30. You can enter for a small fee, and that's yourself, your friends, your family, your neighbors, and more. It doesn't have to be somebody from Sylvan Lake to enter into that euchre competition that begins at 6:30. Plus, plenty of other fun games inside the community center. They're going to have some mahjong. They'll have their weekly Wednesday night yoga in the community center. And then outdoors, all kinds of fun. Beach volleyball, basketball, pickleball on the tennis and pickleball courts out there as well, and plenty of more, including food and fun with the entire community. Dave, this is just such a great thing that they do out here in Sylvan Lake. Each and every week they have some different sort of activity, it seems, at the community center to get the community involved, get people together, and mix and mingle on a weekly basis.
Well, there's no question about it. Absolutely incredible. So let me pose a challenge to Calvin and Jared with something we didn't ask for, and see if they can pull it off. See if you guys can find a picture of the community center somewhere. Just go to the web and see if you can get it. If we get it, great. Because Tyler, I mean, what's really amazing about that facility, I mean, you know, we've got parks. You know, West Bloomfield's got beautiful parks. Oakland County has beautiful parks. We've got so many different really cool places to go. But of all the really cool places to go around our area, the Sylvan Lake Community Center, you gotta put that in a special class all by itself. First of all, it's right back in the center of the residential area of Sylvan Lake. You're not just going to stumble upon it. There we go. Beautiful picture of the building. You're not just going to stumble upon the Sylvan Lake Community Center. A. B, look at that amazing building. They built a beautiful brand new building on the property. And the thing you can't see here, but is most remarkable, is that it's a peninsula. This thing is sitting on a peninsula. There's water in the front yard, there's water in the backyard. Sylvan Lake surrounds this piece of property. I mean, if you put a home on that piece of property, it'd probably be the nicest home in all of Metro Detroit. Matt Stafford would have lived there with all the money that he had. I mean, but it's a great piece of a parcel that's preserved for the community. And when you go out there, when I go out there, it doesn't even matter if there's anything going on. I was there the other day working on the internet connection for meeting coverage, right? And I just had to take a minute and go, wow, this is really nice. So it's a fantastic facility. We hope you get out there. And then the sense of community that is in Sylvan Lake is special. Sylvan Lake is probably more than any other communities we serve, just because of the way it's set up. Tyler, I would say it's more like a club than a community.
Yeah, it really is. And when you think about this particular location, there is so much history behind it that goes back to this very idea we're talking about being a place for the community to gather, for kids to grow up together, for families to connect with each other all throughout the years. This, of course, the location of their previous community center before they built this earlier on in the 21st century, but also an historic location for a place such as the Detroit Free Press Fresh Air Camp way back in the day, one of the original summer camps where the Free Press would bring kids up into this area that used to really be more of a recreational area, cottage community for a summer camp. And that history, you can feel it in some sense when you're on site on that location. Just so much history from our local area has happened right there at the community center. You can be a part of that as well with these Sylvan summer fun and games.
Absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun. Keego, we're going to show you some love right now, too, because we have the same feelings about Keego, and it's block party time coming up in Keego. Mark your calendar for July 21st at 5:30 p.m. once a month. The Keego Harbor Block Party happens. Same kind of event, all kinds of activities, food, music, a whole lot more. Happens right there at the City Hall, right by the gazebo, behind the City Hall there. And, you know, I think probably this block party will be bigger than any of the other ones. I think people are just going to want to pull over and take a break from driving home through all the traffic. So, hey, it's a lot of fun. Another great community gathering. We have terrific communities. Mark your calendar for the Keego Harbor Block Party, July 21st. And Tyler, it says the Pulse will be there. Let's see. Live music from the Pulse. Food truck, New Delhi. All right, I bet some Indian food. And local artist art sale. So it should be a lot of fun. We hope you get out there and mark your calendar for the 21st for the Keego Harbor Block Party. One other thing just want to call to your attention is the alert systems that we have here in our area. And Oak Alert is one of them. Most of our communities, West Bloomfield, other communities, and all of our neighboring communities as well, have some kind of text alert system. But if you've not signed up for the Oak Alert system, you might want to do that today. You get free notification about threats, disaster, evacuation notices, any other emergencies. So today, we have a possibility for some severe thunderstorms moving through this afternoon. Might happen, might not happen. You go and sign up for Oak Alert. If it does happen, then you got all the information right in your phone, right? I mean, this is the modern equivalent to those emergency sirens, let's be honest, right? And you can't always hear the emergency sirens, and the Oak Alert is a great thing for you. The QR code on your screen, all you got to do is, you know how to work that. Just take your phone, hold it up to your screen, grab that. It'll give you a link right to Oak Alert for Oakland County. And then you can go and sign up for that thing, and you will be all set with all the emergency information. These things, Tyler, these devices, you know, our cell phones right now are such amazing tools. I was sitting at a restaurant not too long ago, and there was an Amber Alert. And actually, I was dining at the bar, and everyone's phone all went off at the same time because the Amber Alerts just light up everybody's cell phone. And everybody knew exactly what was going on. It was a serious thing. It all caught our attention. And, you know, just having these alerts on your phones are really, really helpful. And we recommend that you take part in signing up for those things. And I know you use those services as well.
I do, Dave, and I use them in a number of different ways. I use the Nixle services to learn about what's going on in the greater West Bloomfield community. I also use them for my area out here in western Oakland County, Wixom, Novi, Walled Lake, all those areas that also affect my daily commute, my runs around the community as well, to make sure that now I'm up to date on the latest that's happening. And this includes not just traffic alerts, but other weather events that may have affected different thoroughfares in the community or may affect community events. And in the case of Oak Alerts, it could also be public health warnings that also come into play periodically, whether
Sure.
it is beach warnings in our local community, what we know has been a recurring story of late for us here in the local area, including in Keego Harbor and in Sylvan Lake, or other public health emergencies that may pop up over time. That's all going to come through on these alerts, and they're going to give you details, updates, all that you need to know, so you're not scrolling through social media and trying to figure out what is fact and what is fiction, what is speculation. You're getting the details as they're coming in to the powers that be that are taking care of these problems as they're also learning more about them and informing the community.
All right, so get involved, be an active citizen, sign up for these alerts in your community. There's the QR code one more time. All right, for Jared and Calvin back in our studios, I know they're already doing this, but make sure the tape recorders are rolling right now. Do we still have tape? Well, the digital recorders. Because, my friends, the most green and white guy in the entire state of Michigan is now going to have to report on what's going on at the big house in Ann Arbor. So with a big pill and a little bit of pain, I hand it over to Tyler Kieft.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting story as the University of Michigan continues to modernize one of the eldest stadiums in the entire country. Over 100 years of service to the community at the Big House, Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor, getting a lighting upgrade. What's interesting about the University of Michigan, and this is not unfamiliar to other Big Ten schools, including my alma mater at Michigan State, they didn't have permanent lights in until fairly recently. 2010 was when they put their most permanent light system into place, and now they're completely replacing that with an LED lighting system, LED light panels that allow them to modernize the stadium experience. Not only are these lights going to be more energy efficient, they're also going to allow for more customization. That means bigger experiences during the pre-games. You think about those big games when Michigan State comes to town, when the Ohio State University comes to town, as they call themselves, with an extra indefinite article. Even those big games earlier on in the season, those night games, including their home opener September 16th against Bowling Green State, those are big events, and those lighting shows, allowing some more flashing lights, some special light fixtures on the actual field itself and in the audience. And over 100,000 people every single game at Michigan Stadium. This is going to create a much stronger game experience for fans in Ann Arbor.
So I was at Comerica Park over the weekend, and they've updated their lighting system there and put the LED lights in and pulled out all the old lights. First of all, as any of us know, you take out your old light bulb, put an LED bulb in, and your power bill it gets like cut in 1 to 1/10 of what it was before. And the new LED lights are really bright. At Comerica Park, though, I think I know where you're going, and I've not heard the story until you just shared it with us. But at Comerica Park, they've got the colored LED lights there too. And I don't know if these fixtures that they are putting in at U of M at the big house can do different colors, but I bet they can. So could you just imagine if they could just light the whole thing up in maize and blue before a game as it's getting dark outside? Or at least have some of those, I bet that's the kind of thing they're going to be doing. The other thing that I've been out there quite a bit this summer working on various projects, and they have also totally replaced the big scoreboard screens on either side of the stadium. And if you go by the big house, I was just there Sunday, they're not quite done. In fact, I think in that picture, yeah, you could see it in that picture. That's a really recent picture. You could see that the blue M that's on the back of the scoreboard, only half of it is there right now. So that is a very recent picture. So they're replacing the big scoreboards as well. And they're going to have these big, huge, not only the LED lighting for the stadium, but these big, huge LED boards too. So, 2 huge high-definition televisions on either side of the stadium. And that, to me, that's a game changer. I mean, that is going to be awesome. So I think it'll be really great to see how they do that. I'm sure they got some maize and blue lights there, Tyler. Maybe we're not going to see a lot of green and white there, but should be a lot of fun, and I think the game experience will be great.
It will be, and what's even more interesting, if you're looking at this picture on our screen, and of course later on, Civic Center TV on YouTube and civiccentertv.com, they're bringing in these lights. This is from yesterday. It is a modern picture, Dave. It is yesterday, Monday afternoon. They brought in these lights via helicopter to install the new fixtures for the main lighting system, those LED lights. But you think about the experience during the football games and the pregame, but also even during the band performances at halftime or pregame, enhancing that experience when other events such as concerts or major sporting events. We saw a few years ago a major soccer game that happened at Michigan Stadium as well. This is something that's going to attract more events to Ann Arbor, more big sporting events, and it's going to make that experience for fans, not just the U of M faithful, but visiting fans as well. That classic big house experience, it's one of the best attractions in all of college football. It only gets better with this sort of renovation.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely incredible, the updates they have done to that facility, adding the new fancy press box and the suites and the conference centers and everything. I mean, it's absolutely a terrific stadium. That said, the only reason, listen, I love everything about the big house, but that said, the only reason they can put 101,000 people in there is they got those little benches, that are like at a high school football stadium. It's nothing like you would have at any other stadium. So definitely, when you're going to a Michigan game, if you've never gone out there, take the little rear end cushion with you. And but that's kind of part of the nature and character of the big house. You know that when you go out there. I got some great video. Maybe we can show it another day. I had the opportunity with the Michigan travel community to get right down on the field and go into the locker room. And maybe we can show that some morning here on the program. So congratulations to Ann Arbor and to the big house for this amazing renovation. It is just another beautiful landscape here in Michigan, this great structure. And speaking, Tyler, of landscapes here in Michigan, you've got a really interesting picture to share with us.
Yeah, Oakland County all summer long has been sharing pictures from people like you out in the community, taking pictures of the local environment, local recreational areas. This is actually a picture that was taken by at jules.sug on Instagram and tagged with hashtag Oakland County. This is of just a brook in Clarkston, but look at this photo. This is a beautiful photo. It's showing the great nature we have here in Oakland County, and there's plenty of more photos from throughout the area that have been spread all throughout the summer. If we can take a look at those, Calvin and Jared back at Master Control. We got a couple more of them. Here's another one. This is of the clouds. This was taken by someone right here in our communities in West Bloomfield at Joy of Life Photo. This was taken of the clouds in West Bloomfield just a few weeks ago. There's another one also from in Lake Orion. of the fireworks
Nice.
just taken on July 3rd
Nice.
in Lake Orion from @Inspired by Movement, and then one final one taken not of our area. This is not Civic Center TV. We don't have that big light fixture there. That's actually in one of our neighboring communities. That's the Farmington Civic Theater at Colin
you
Michael
bet it
Floyd
is.
from Oakland County. Yeah, and you can get involved with this, Dave, too. If you're out and about taking pictures in the community, all you got to do is tag Oakland County by going and using hashtag Oakland County on Facebook and Instagram. They may share your photos.
Yeah, no, that's great. Maybe we need a big old theater marquee on the Green Media Center right there on Walnut Lake Road. That might spice up our experience a little bit. Well, the school district is getting ready to update the elementary school right next door. You think we can talk to Dave Alberry and get that thing in the budget somehow?
You know, maybe we can even make that connection back to Michigan Stadium and encourage them to do it all with LED lights, make it a little more affordable, a little less on that electrical bill with the big light fixture.
All right, well, absolutely. Lily Pad Springs, the only story we haven't gotten to yet, Tyler Kieft, and I'm going to hand it back over to you to tell what's been going on there. The weather's been so great. There's been a ton of activity at what is truly, I got to say, I think the most amazing small water park here in the state of Michigan, barring none.
Yeah, and it's already getting national praise. Lily Pad Springs, West Bloomfield's very own splash pad. It's a water park. It's a regular park experience. It's kind of like a playground and a water park all into one. And it's open all summer long. It's tough to believe that we're actually getting close to the end of the season. Just 57 days left in the Lily Pad Springs season. But these are photos from Monday where, of course, as you said, 80 plus degrees, almost 90 degrees. It was hot. It was humid. Families are looking for something to do to get that energy out of their kids without being in the burning hot sun alone all day long. So to go over to Lily Pad Springs and have fun in the water. You can see there the big bucket that constantly is getting refilled and dumping over on patrons at Lily Pad Springs, right there on Farmington Road, right across from the Sports Club of West Bloomfield, another local landmark here in our communities, and families can go there all week long. Open from 11 a.m. to 6:15 a.m. and today, one of those days, Tuesdays, that's open till 8:45 p.m. All the details you need to know about Lily Pad Springs, how you can get there, how you can sign up for times and different activities, and which sessions you can go to, as we see some video from some of our past presentations, including Parks and Recreation meeting coverage of Lily Pad Springs on your screen. wbparks.org/lilypadsprings, or call them at 248-451-1900, 248-451-1900. Again, 57 days left in the season. Plenty of time still to get out there. Plenty of more hot days. You can get out there before the rain today. You can get out there after the rain a couple of days from now and have plenty of family fun with our friends over at West Bloomfield Parks. Dave, one of the best attractions in all of the community.
All right, very good, Tyler. It's absolutely amazing. Now, you don't have to be a West Bloomfield resident to use Lily Pad Springs. It's open to everybody. I think the fee structure is a little bit different, but it is available to absolutely everyone. Just some of the great things going on in this Michigan summer right here in West Bloomfield. We're going to take a break. We'll be back. Thank you very much for watching. You're watching The Splash Live on Civic Center TV, listening on 89.3 Lakes FM, our local radio station. Thank you for tuning in if you're driving around and hopefully not stuck in traffic in the Orchard Lake Road construction area. And thank you for watching across social media on Facebook and YouTube and on the CivicCenterTV.com website. Wherever you are, thank you for tuning in. We're going to take a break and we'll be back. Good morning. You are watching The Splash Live.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true in the face of flu.
Influenza has the power to infect millions.
But it's easy to protect yourself, your family, and your community.
The flu vaccine is safe and effective. And with COVID-19 still around,
it's essential. Together we can face flu season head on.
Visit michigan.gov/flu.
Looking for a midweek meal? Keep the bag lunch at home this summer and enjoy street food in your neighborhood with Food Truck Tuesdays. Enjoy cuisine from around Michigan outside the WB Parks and Recreation's Activity Center with a different vendor every Tuesday, like Vegged Out on July 11th. All summer, every Tuesday, Food Truck Tuesday. This community update from Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Watch Civic Center TV with our brand new live captions. To turn on live captions, go to civiccentertv.com and click Watch Live. In your web browser, click on the Options tab in the top right and find the Accessibilities tab. Then just switch on live captions to heighten your enjoyment of our local programming. Thank you so much for watching Civic Center TV.
Many people are feeling overwhelmed and struggling with mental wellness these days. So be kind to your mind. Give yourself permission to breathe. Share your feelings. You are not alone. Have hope. Talk to a Stay Well counselor for free confidential help 24/7 through the COVID-19 hotline.
And now, back to the Splash, live.
Welcome back to the Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show. I'm your host, Tyler Kieft, alongside Dave Scott. Each and every morning, you can join us all throughout the morning on your commute as you're starting your workday, all the way through about 1 o'clock in the afternoon for the latest happening in your community, both today and coming up all throughout the week and in the weeks ahead. Something that's always on our minds here is conservation in our community. All 4 of our communities here in the Greater West Bloomfield area, as well as many of our neighbors, focusing on how they can help our environment thrive now and years into the future. One of those focal points in our communities has actually been the Monarch butterfly. There's been campaigns from right here in our community. I know Karen Meebrod out of Keego Harbor, who we mentioned earlier on in the program, has for a long time been an advocate of the state adopting the monarch butterfly as the state insect. And also our friends over at West Bloomfield Parks, big advocates for our friends, the monarch butterflies. Joining us now to talk about the monarch butterfly, as well as some efforts being made by over 365 communities across the U.S. to protect the monarch butterfly, is Lauren Azoury, Park Naturalist Supervisor at West Bloomfield Parks. Lauren, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, Tyler. And I love talking about monarchs. It's my favorite topic.
Yeah, we know you love monarchs. That's why we invited you on the show, and especially with such good news coming from our community. As I mentioned, 365 communities nationwide have joined what's called the Mayor's Monarch Pledge Program. This includes communities in our neighboring areas, Troy, Rochester, Rochester Hills, and Sterling Heights among the communities that have joined this pledge. Calvin and Jared at Master Control, we do have a picture actually of the mayor of Sterling Heights holding his Mayor's Monarch Pledge certificate alongside a member of their beautification committee. If we may be able to show that. That is Mayor Michael Taylor you're seeing on the screen, holding that certificate. One of the many communities pledging to help protect the monarch butterfly. But Lauren, you're an expert in this area. You know what the monarchs like and how they're affecting our community. Let's start with why this is such an important conservation effort. What exactly makes monarch butterflies an important part of our ecosystem?
They're kind of what we call the champion of their species. So pollinators in general are important. All bumblebees, all of our solitary native bees, hummingbirds, and butterflies are pollinators, and they all do a really important job for us of creating our food and just keeping the ecosystem healthy and going. But people love the monarch butterfly because it's larger, it's beautiful. So it has become like the cornerstone species, the thing that people think about, even if you're not into nature, like that's the one species you know and you've heard about before. So they have good PR, they have good marketing, and they're also on the endangered species list as well. So they draw attention in that way. which helps people to understand why we're losing them and the importance of them. So monarchs kind of speak for all pollinators in a way. That's their important job in the ecosystem right now. But their pollination is really the main goal that they have in life, and what they do for our ecosystem and what they do for us.
And it's not just when they're actual butterflies itself that they're having this sort of an impact. That begins even before they become that full-fledged butterfly, and when they're in caterpillar form too.
Correct. So their life cycle is really amazing. It's kind of like a nature miracle. We say it's like nature magic when we're explaining it to kids, because the way that they actually grow and change is just really, really unique and special. All insects go through metamorphosis, but monarch butterflies do it quickly. So when they hatch from their egg, they're actually the size of like your eyelash. And just in a matter of weeks, they grow to about the size of my thumb. So they get much larger as time goes on, and very quickly. And they do that by eating only one food source. So their host plant, where the adults lay their eggs, and the only food that the caterpillar will eat is the milkweed plant. Now, there are different species of milkweed. So if you have different habitats, if you have a wetter habitat, you can plant swamp milkweed, and they'll utilize that. If you have a prairie-like area or a drier area, they will use common milkweed. And there's lots of different species of milkweed. So they'll use all of those milkweed species, but it's super important because it's the only thing those caterpillars will eat, and they grow super fast on. So they go from that teeny tiny little egg, like the size of a pinhead, all the way to the adult butterfly in less than about a month.
Yeah, I was at a 4th of July get-together with my dad's girlfriend and her kids, and my brother, who's an avid gardener, and he's looking through my dad's girlfriend's plants and some of the herbs that she has in some of her raised beds, and sees some caterpillars, and it's like, I got to put those over on your milkweed over here. He rushed to get them over there. I helped them out with it. We got like 3 or 4 of them. It was really cool getting them onto that milkweed. But Lauren, you mentioned that these are endangered species, and we know that human impact has certainly been a threat to so many local species, including these pollinators, including insects like the monarch butterfly. What particularly are some of these activities that may be causing or maybe leading to some of that endangerment that has reduced our population of monarchs in recent years?
Yeah, habitat loss is one of them. So milkweed is a really beautiful plant, but for a long time, it wasn't a traditional plant that you would put in your garden. It grows pretty tall and it does spread. So not every gardener or traditional, English garden that they want this manicured, beautiful space was a good fit for them. And we also mow a lot. And traditionally, people like their green lawns, but honestly, it's kind of a wasteland. Green lawns really serve no purpose for our ecosystem other than humans, for some reason years ago, have had this in their mind that you need a green, pretty short grass lawn. So we mow a lot, and we take down a lot of plants that people don't tend to like, and that includes milkweed oftentimes. I think it's growing in popularity, which is great to hear. More people want to add that into their garden, and we definitely encourage them to do so. So habitat loss is definitely a big part of why the monarch population is declining, but another large factor is pesticide and herbicide use. So I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and they're like, oh, I have milkweed in my yard, and it's great, and we love helping the butterflies, but I haven't seen any eggs this year. And then a few minutes later, our conversation is evolving, and they say that they spray their yard for mosquitoes for their kids. And I was like, well, there's the connection right there. You're spraying a insect killer on your grass and your lawn. That's why they're not coming to your milkweed. So yeah, the 2 main factors are herbicide and pesticide use and habitat loss.
We're joined on today's program by Lauren Azoury, Parks Naturalist Supervisor at West Bloomfield Parks. You can learn more about their programs, including those that may help you and your kids learn about insects such as the monarch butterfly, by visiting wbparks.org. And Lauren, this is all connecting back to a really cool story from here in Oakland County, from the Oakland Press earlier on this week, about several communities in our local area here in Oakland County and neighboring communities, Troy, Rochester Hills, and Sterling Heights, all joining what's called the Mayor's Monarch Pledge Program, one among many of the communities, over 365 communities in the U.S. joining this pledge of late. In West Bloomfield, there's plenty of conservation efforts that are being spearheaded by West Bloomfield Parks and in partnership with the township, as well as the Environmental Commission and so on, to protect species such as the monarch butterfly. So in terms of what we may see out of these different communities, of course, not knowing from an insider in those communities what exact steps they're going to take, what may be some things that they can do in these communities or that we can do in our communities to protect the monarch butterfly?
Yeah, so West Bloomfield Township, our Township Supervisor Steve Kaplan has taken the Mayor Monarch Pledge for 2 years now, and plans to apply again in 2024. So you reapply every year, and what that does is it keeps what's happening in your community fresh and new. So that helps us to continue to educate the public. So really the main point of the Mayor Monarch Pledge is to provide habitat for butterflies. So those that apply and whatever townships apply, part of that process is adding pollinator-friendly gardens, using native plants in their general landscaping beds, and then also education. So along with installing those gardens, putting signs up to know why they're there, why they might look different than someone else's garden, what their purpose is, and what they're helping to do. So a lot of the Mayor Monarch Pledge is adding habitat, because as we just discussed, habitat loss is a big part of it. So milkweed is important, but so are all of those other flowering native nectar plants. And it's great to have those plants year round. Obviously not in the winter, but in the early spring when monarchs are arriving, in the late fall when they're leaving. We want flowers that are native and bloom during those times when they're traveling and they need them. They need these little way stations as they go across the country all the way back down south. So a lot of the Mayor's Monarch Pledge is installing new habitat spaces. So our township has put a small pollinator garden as part of their town hall property. And then the other thing they're doing is installing a sign. So public education, hopefully someone that might not be into nature. Maybe they wouldn't want to traditionally visit us at the nature room, but now they're going to town hall because they need, clerk services or postal services. And now they've seen this beautiful garden with a sign and hopefully are inspired to do something similar in their own home or talk to their neighbors about it. So as much as Parks and Rec plays a big role in it, it's great that the township is also jumping on board and doing these educational facilities as well. And helping educate about the importance of monarchs and what we're doing here in our community for that.
And Lauren, you mentioned it. People want to have their lawns nicely manicured. They want to have these nice gardens and displays in front of their homes. And so they're trying to balance using certain chemicals to make that happen, but also protecting the environment and protecting species like the monarch butterfly. What are some of your suggestions in terms of how they can balance those two and maybe even make them coexist?
Yeah, absolutely. We talk about companion gardening all the time. So you don't have to be a purist and only plant native plants. You can start really small. And even myself as a naturalist, purchased my first native plants just like 5 or 6 years ago, and I only bought 2 or 3. And now I've, eventually pulled out my hostas and added in my cardinal flower, pulled out some of my turf grass areas and added a milkweed patch. It doesn't have to happen overnight. And really, truly, sounds kind of silly and cheesy, but if you build it, they will come. So they have these great resources, animal instinct to find your small spaces. So you do not have to have a giant yard space. You could have a patio garden and still provide great nectar sources for these animals. So there's a lot of options out there if you're new to this type of idea. One thing I would definitely encourage, though, is to go with a true native plant grower. So we work with Plants for Ecology. Wild Type is a big grower in the area as well. Because if you go into a big box garden store and say, I'd like a native plant, what they're going to give you is a species similar to a native plant here. So a coneflower bought at a store where it's a cultivar and the greenhouse has adjusted it and changed its genotype, versus a coneflower that has grown in Michigan for hundreds of thousands of years, and our butterflies know that that's a great nectar source, and it hasn't had herbicides and pesticides put on it to grow bigger and prettier, is your best source. So if you want to start, you can start small by adding native plants. Milkweed is obviously a great one, but there's lots of other choices that help our pollinators as well, and to do true native plants from a true native grower.
Lauren Azoury joins us on the program, Parks Naturalist at West Bloomfield Parks. Lauren, we've got about a minute left. Anything else that we haven't discussed on the monarch butterfly that may be important for our audience to know, or ways that they can help with the conservation? I see you got one right there with us. You got the caterpillars.
Yeah, I just thought I'd show you some of our friends here. So we do bring some inside for education purposes. So you're welcome to visit the nature room during our open hours or a lot of our summer programming. We include the butterfly monarch life cycle. We try to sneak in that monarch education wherever we can. So most programs you come and visit us at some point, we do mention pollinators and how to help them. Last week was actually pollinator week. So we've done a few weeks ago was pollinator week. We've done a lot around that. But they're amazing to watch. So they sit by our desks and we can hear them chomping away at the milkweed leaves. And it's really a magical transformation to watch them change from this big caterpillar here to a chrysalis. So yeah, we hope you come visit us at the nature room and learn a little bit more about it. You can visit Town Hall and see what they're working on in their demonstration garden there for pollinators. Hopefully be inspired to plant some of your own plants to help these special creatures out. But yeah, they're really magnificent to see. These are the ones that are in a little bit larger life stage. So they are eating a lot, very, very fast. I always say, if you see nibbles in your garden, don't be upset. It means you're doing the right thing. It means you're working with ecology and it's forming its purpose. So don't spray for nibbles in your garden. They're there for a reason, and that you're doing the right thing if you're getting your garden nibbled on a little bit.
Lauren, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And thanks for having
WBparks.org
Monarch,
is the place to go. Yes, absolutely. Thank both of you. Thank all of you for joining us on today's edition of The Splash Live. WBparks.org for more information on all of their programs and educational opportunities. And for more news and information around the community, always encourage you to stick with us here on The Splash Live. I'm Tyler Kieft alongside Dave Scott. Plenty more coming up from around our community all throughout the week. Thank you so much. You're watching and listening to The Splash Live.